we're live.
Good.
Maybe we are live. It's hard to tell when you're standing in an office and there's just a little phone connected to a stick. Maybe there's someone out there, maybe there isn't, but I'll carry on talking anyway. So we're a couple of minutes before live. I think a couple of minutes countdown going on, maybe, I don't know. We'll hear the bongs in a minute of Big Ben or something to announce it, possibly. So I'm here to answer questions, and we've got people that are writing some of the most popular questions down. We've already written down a whole ton of questions which people want answered, and I'll answer everything that I can or that we've got time for. So before I do that, I thought I'd take everybody for a little tour around because things have changed. Anybody that followed us right from the very beginning, I'm going to put this down. Everybody knows I kind of wave my arms around. So right from the very beginning, you saw our offices, or some of the people out there that followed us from the start. And our offices were a bit tatty, possibly not the easiest place for us to attract the best staff. So we've created this floor up here, which I wanted to show you because it's really cool. This is part of now where we do our morning scrum meetings, and it's just a really cool place for people to hang out and have some entrepreneurial kind of ideas. So I'll get Rob, the improvised cameraman, to pan us round, and you can have a little look. So it's quite a funky space. It's completely devoid of any of the staff at the moment because they're actually downstairs working. But we've got a new meeting room, so some of these people that are coming in now to see us are, you know, pretty big players in the market, and turning up at our relatively tatty office was not really suitable. So we've now got a really good environment that we're doing this, and it's a nice place to hang out. So before I go on, we'll go downstairs in a moment. Do you want to put that down, Rob? Before we go on, I'll just cover some of the ecosystem again, because I think there's an awful lot of, when I was looking at questions today, there's a lot of questions and misunderstandings around how the project's going to work and the ecosystem. So firstly, I think it's important to say that the Electroneum project is going exceedingly well. So it's going where we want it to go. It's going exactly as we planned, if not better than how we planned. And it's important to understand that we've got this mobile miner, and people are getting very confused between ordinary mining, this new question about ASICs, which I'll cover in a moment, and mobile miner. Now, the mobile miner is not a true miner. It's not mining on your phone. It's not going to use up all your battery. It's not going to use up all your bandwidth. It's not going to cost you a load of money in data. But what we're doing is we've got a separate algorithm, completely separate from mining that you hear with Bitcoin mining or Electroneum mining, true mining. It's separate to that, and it's a reward for being involved with the Electroneum project. And that might sound a little bit strange to some people, but did you say I need to be louder?
Yes, please.
Sorry, have to ask. I don't know if I can be any louder. Maybe I'll shout a little bit. Right, come a bit closer. Thank you. Yeah. So what we're trying to do as a project, and what we're doing exceedingly well so far, is we are trying to take cryptocurrency, which loads of people have made. Thousands of people have made cryptocurrencies. But we are taking cryptocurrency, and we have got a strong plan in place that's working to take cryptocurrency out to the mass audience. No one's ever done it. Bitcoin might have 10 million users, 13 million users, but that's not a mass audience. Mass audience is when you get tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people using the cryptocurrency. And we're going to do that. I have absolutely no doubt now. When we ran the ICO, it was more of an idea and a hope. Now I have spoken to the market, I've spoken to the mobile operators that we've done these deals with, and I absolutely know that we are going to deliver tens of millions of people into cryptocurrency, into our ecosystem, and we are going to be the biggest cryptocurrency in the world by user numbers. Absolutely sure of it. So, and how we're going to do that is mobile miner. So that sounds like a fairly tame thing at the moment. We've only probably got 60,000 people using it. It's been a very early stage of its release. But what it's there for is to reward participation in the Electroneum project. So other people get rewarded for participation. So the miners, the true miners, the full miners, they are getting rewarded for participation in the project because they are maintaining the nodes, they're maintaining the blockchain, and they are handling the transactions. So they're rewarded. So what we want to do is we are rewarding people for being involved in the cryptocurrency of Electroneum. And we're doing that through the mobile miner. It doesn't pay out a huge amount of money, so people are not going to get rich on it, but a few dollars a month. It's still fluctuating at the moment because we're still analysing all the data. There's a ton of data coming in. We're analysing it. We've already increased the rewards once or twice, and we'll be tweaking that as we go. The great thing is we actually have control of that algorithm, so we can control it. So these ASICs coming out, so someone's now released a new piece of hardware for mining cryptocurrencies. So Monero is going to be mined with this, and Bitcoin will be mined with this new chip that mines super fast. That has literally no effect at all on the mobile miner. So people will be able to mine Electroneum with that, and we will follow Monero's lead on this. Monero have got a great team behind them, big believer in the Monero project as well. And Monero will be developing something, I'm sure, that's anti-ASIC. And if that's happening, then we will follow that along. But it's not critical for our project, so we need to get that across. That even if people are out there with a huge warehouse full of ASIC miners mining Electroneum, that's fine. We've got plenty of people mining the Electroneum. We need that. We need those full miners to work to enable the transactions to take place, so that our mobile miners, the people out there that are using the phone app, have the ability to transact between themselves, because they're not full miners. So we need those full miners. So I'm not bothered by that in any way, and it doesn't affect our plan of massive, massive growth. So just quickly coming back to that. So we're putting this ecosystem in place, we're putting an infrastructure in place, and it's all coming together really well. You've got to always remember, we're only about 4 months into a live product. We're less than a year old as a business, but we've done some amazing things. So blockchain's obviously live, it's functional. We've had our ups and downs, but as with any technology company, what's important is that you address them and fix them as soon as anything happens. And that's what we do. We've got a great team. I'll take you downstairs so you can see them again in a moment. But what we've got is this ecosystem we're developing. So everybody that comes into the Electroneum project, via the app, they are getting some Electroneum through the miner, and that enables a new person who's never touched cryptocurrency before to have some cryptocurrency. Now at the moment, this is early days. It's very difficult for them to spend that cryptocurrency. Really the only place they can do it is to go to an exchange. But that's not where it's going to end. So we are already, as you know, in talks with lots of network operators and things called MVNOs, so the virtual network operators, and they have huge user numbers. And at the moment we're probably up to about 150 million users that are pending text messaging. So our marketing method through these guys is going to be text messaging those users and inviting them into the app. So we're going to be doing various planned testing. So marketing testing, will be testing different messages, we'll be testing different message rates. So do we do 5 messages over 5 days? All these things will be tested in smaller groups, 10,000, then 100,000, then 1 million, then 10 million. We've got access to these enormous user numbers that we're going to be introducing to Electroneum via text message. Now we don't know what the take-up rate will be yet, because we haven't started that yet. But it will be a few percent at least, possibly it will be 10%, who knows? It's an exciting thing. But what's even more exciting, and what's got the mobile operators excited, is that because we have control of this, we have control of how we emit the coins into the mobile miner, we also have the ability to reward people for the growth of Electroneum. And this is where every other cryptocurrency, there's some amazing cryptocurrencies out there in terms of technology, but they haven't got a route to market. And this is where we differ from absolutely everybody. Everybody's out there with great tech. Some of them haven't got great tech, but some of them have got great tech, but they don't know how to get it to the market. What we've got is an absolute clear-cut route to market. We've already defined it. We're already in the middle of it. And we are going to deliver those millions and millions of text messages, or tens of millions, hundreds of millions of text messages into hundreds of millions of users, and introduce them to the mobile app. Now when they get that, the actual mobile operator gets a percentage commission. They're getting a bonus on top of it. So we're not taking some of the miners' money away, we're adding a bonus to the mobile operators. And this is how our ICO went exceedingly well, by running this referral system. And this is, I'm sure, how our viral adoption of the mobile miner will go as well. So in the next couple of weeks you'll see this technology come out, and at the moment there's a page where you can enter a sort of a competition, but this is all going to be replaced within the next couple of weeks with the ability to refer somebody else. And when you refer somebody else, you get a bonus on top of whatever they've mined. And that's really excited the mobile operators. They have a thing called ARPU, average revenue per user. Mobile operators have a very, very, very small margin. And so anything that can bring additional margin to them excites them a great deal, and which is why we've seen this huge excitement around what we're delivering, because they want to get this out to their users as fast as they can and start earning some revenue from it. So that's stage one of the ecosystem. Get users. Well, okay, that sounds pretty exciting because there probably isn't any other, well, there is no other cryptocurrency with 20 million users anywhere in the world. So that sounds pretty exciting, but so what? Having 20 million users doing what? So then the next stage is we're going to be delivering infrastructure that enables them to do stuff with the cryptocurrency. So we've already got the deals, obviously, with the mobile operators, so they're going to be able to buy some of that data or airtime from their provider, which is great because the providers are really keen on that as well. They want to get a digital payment solution out to the unbanked of the world. So imagine there are hundreds of millions of people that have got a smartphone, but they don't have a bank account. And these people excite businesses because this is a market that's completely untapped, but they have no route to them. We're providing that route. So one, straight away we've got the ability for the mobile miner to drop some small amount of currency to these people, but it's a lot of money to them. It might not be to you and I perhaps, if we're sitting in the Western world, but to a great deal of the population in the undeveloped world, there is a substantial amount of money in terms of dollar term. So now if they can spend that on their mobile phone, that's great, but the next part of it is that we are going to be dropping in lots of bits of ecosystem that enables them and anyone else in the world to start accepting Electroneum to do their own entrepreneurial things. So just literally a moment ago I released our beta version of a bit of code so that people can understand what we're trying to do. So we've got a beta release for an e-commerce platform. It's just gone out onto our GitHub. So what that enables people to do is it enables people to accept Electroneum by using WooCommerce, which is a free plugin, to WordPress, which is also free. So if you can set up an e-commerce shop for free and you can use that to accept Electroneum, suddenly you've enabled someone who's never had access to digital payments before to be part of a digital ecosystem. They can actually sell things online. They might not have anything to sell themselves, but maybe the guy down the road has got some wood carvings. Maybe they could buy those wood carvings and sell them online. This is the first time this has ever happened. So we're very excited about delivering entrepreneurialism to a mass market. So
slow down.
Everyone's telling me to slow down because I gabble a bit, but you're probably used to that if you've heard me talk anywhere else. I'm trying to stop hand waving too, but it's never going to happen. So that pretty much in a nutshell is what we're trying to achieve, and we've got a firm plan to achieve it. We've got those agreements in place. You've seen these MOUs. One of the questions people keep asking is when's it going to go to the next stage? Well, we've just literally this Monday had the contracts back from the lawyers that we can now use for some of these people. We've got people literally battering us with emails every single week saying, when can we send the text messages? When can we send the text messages? So we had to get the referral system in place, and that's the next week or two. And then we've got contracts out with them. So we will start seeing more user adoption in the early stages, sending out tens of thousands of texts. And then we'll go into, within the next 3 or 4 months, we should start seeing huge user volumes. Now just quickly, I mean, we've got 60,000 odd miners or something on the mobile app, and a lot of people have been a bit disappointed by that. But I think you should really take a little bit of time to have a look at the top 50, say, cryptocurrencies there are. Have a look at how many wallets exist for a lot of those cryptocurrencies. 60,000 people is more users on our mobile app before we've started promoting it than most cryptocurrencies in the top 50 have had users full stop in their entire history. So we are already achieving mass numbers. They're just not the mass numbers that people are expecting of Electroneum, because I've been out here saying we're going to deliver tens of millions. But we are. You just can't do it in 4 months. But we are doing it. And I'm very, very excited. So what I might do is I might get... Oh, sorry, have you got questions here, or should we go downstairs?
There's a lot of people asking, part of your ecosystem, is there particular regions or countries you're targeting? Is it going to cover Latin America?
Yeah, oh gosh, yes. So if you look already in the app is in about 20 languages. The website's probably in about 10 or 15 languages. We are gearing up for primarily, probably I'd say initially, our growth is likely to be in developing countries. As I said earlier, or alluded to, the Western market is probably not that excited by a few dollars a month in value, whereas the developing world most certainly are excited by the prospect of a few dollars a month in value. We're constantly tweaking that algorithm that emits the coins, and we've got another one that's being developed at the moment that's going to go out possibly next week or possibly the week after, which again is a big change. And it's going to make it a bit more fair. We've noticed that there's an awful lot of people running with older hardware, and it's only barely really giving them a hash rate at all. So what we're doing is we're squeezing those up into a middle band. So we're basically taking all those people and increasing the power of their earning capacity without increasing the top end, so the people with the higher capacity phones are not going to get rewarded, just the lower ones, because really they're the people that we're trying to excite about the project. So we're trying to make it much more fair for everyone. And once we're dropping this out to people, the people that are likely to be coming on are from those Africa, India, Indonesia, South America. You know, they're probably the most exciting regions for us. And we have deals in place in all of those places to deliver users. And once we start delivering some users, you know, you might have seen us at the MWC. The amount of interest we've had is absolutely unbelievable. And I'm flying out of the country a week tomorrow. I'm going to Dubai to meet up with a monster, absolute monster, bigger than anybody else that we've dealt with. Then I'm flying off to Singapore and Malaysia and Jakarta. And so these deals are coming together, and some of it needs a little bit more finessing, but they're all excited to get involved. And we've also got, I again hinted in one of the emails about patent technology. One of the things that we found, big corporates want to deal with corporates. They don't want to deal with a decentralized community. They want to deal with a company that has SLAs and has contracts and has infrastructure. And part of the fact that we've patented some of this stuff, which we can't quite announce yet what's in it, but it's some really good stuff. We've been working with Dentons. They're probably the biggest law firm in the world, if not one of the top few anyway. We're working with their head of patents. They are super sure we've got something that's well worth patenting, and the process is exciting. But what it gives us, a lot of people have been saying to me, what's the point? Why are we having a patent, and what's the purpose? For the end user, it makes no difference to you guys. And you probably wouldn't care either if we've got something that enables us to protect the intellectual property of Electroneum. Again, it's not really that exciting for any end user. But what it's for, and this is the critical part, is that when we're dealing with these corporate entities, when we're dealing with these massive organizations, what they want to know is our longevity is there, and our longevity is assured. They want to know that they're dealing with a company that knows what it's doing, has firm SLAs, service level agreements, firm deliverables, and their intellectual property is locked up and secure. So the patenting process is part of building a moat around our business, is the terminology that gets used in a lot of these meetings that I'm in. They want to see that we've got everything in place to be the people that we're saying we are, which is the ability to deliver this digital ecosystem straight into their user base. So the patent thing is massive for us to do some of the deals, and some of the brands that we're talking to that have sort of insisted and certainly hinted at us having this capability are monster brands, monster brands. Again, can't talk about them just yet, but we've got exciting things.
So how is it going with the patent at the moment? Are you close?
Patents, well, every week, you know, you've been in them. We've had meetings every single week with the lawyers. It's constantly tweaking and getting it right. They've got 2 PhDs on writing the unbelievable detail of the patent. It gets very heavy going. We thought we would get it out in time for the show. They worked tirelessly to get it ready for the show, but when we read through it, there were a few things that weren't just quite right, so we've gone back through it again. We've got another final on Monday. So hopefully as soon as it's submitted, as soon as that button is pressed, then we have global protection. And as soon as that global protection is placed, I can explain further what it protects, and some of that stuff is super cool. So some of it, people will just go, now I know why they did this, and this. But there's a timescale to all this stuff. So you know, that's pretty much where we're at with that. What other questions have we got coming in?
Well, everyone wants to meet the team. You know,
let's do it.
The tech team and
let's do it. So come back downstairs. This is our cool area for meetings. So, but downstairs, anybody who saw us during the ICO will have seen our office was really untidy. We didn't sleep during the ICO. We don't sleep much now, if I'm honest. But during the ICO, we just worked our butts off, and we had lots of mess, lots of rubbish, cardboard mountains, and it was pretty untidy. So follow me.
We're only here on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, so we're up. We've got the top floor for traditional office space. That's not done, but we've got this. This isn't our floor. This is somebody else's. And then come on down here. It feels like we're going into the basement, but we did start on top. So down in here we've got more security in place, financial now, in the financial world. We buzz in and out, although somebody's thought carefully about this. So coming in here, so this is the same office that we were in doing the ICO. You'll probably be able to recognise the shape. It's a lot posher, it's more bodies in it, more people. Hello everybody. So we've got tons more support people. So not everybody's here, but a few more people are here. So the support staff are important to mention. So right at the beginning during the ICO, we had issues with just overwhelmed. We had no idea how successful Electroneum was going to be, and it's a monster success. It's a runaway. So support tickets got a bit out of hand. I think we're pretty much on top of them now. Is that fair to say?
We're working towards SLAs.
Remember one thing: how many other cryptocurrencies have a support ticket system? So go off to Bitcoin in a minute and open a ticket. See who answers. There is no Bitcoin support. That's the whole point. Is we're actually trying to deliver something that nobody else is doing. So I apologise that we had those delays before, but we're working on it. We've got loads of people here crunching through.
Do you want to show the support team down there? Here are
By
the
all
girls.
means. Everybody's tipped up and away. You'll see some faces that you recognise and other faces that are new.
Hello. We have a PR team as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay, so we've got social media going on over there as well. We've got external PR, of course, and we've got these fellas here who are doing something. They're trying to look busy. What else have we? So this is the same office that you saw before. So we've got more support people around here. You recognise the devs. We've got more dev team coming. This is important thing as well. We've had a lot of people saying about why aren't you employing more people? We are employing more people, but the amount of time, the amount of notice period that great people have is always months. It's always months. I mean, we've got one guy who's working out 6-month notice period. We've got a few people working out 3-month notice periods. So we've got more people starting that are really good people. But unfortunately, if they were available instantly, they probably wouldn't be the people that we need. So we've got some really great people starting, and they'll be coming on over the next few months. What other questions have we got? I covered that ASIC thing very quickly, I think, earlier, so I don't know whether to cover that anymore. I think we're probably happy with that one. I keep seeing people ask that one.
Why don't we sit down and just have a quick question?
Where do you want me? Over here?
Yes. So we had lots of questions on exchanges, and I think the first one, the main one, is all about Cryptopia. We had quite a few issues.
Yep.
Do you want to just do a recap, say where we are? We're working with the teams.
Sure. Okay, so Cryptopia is a really important thing to cover. Do you want me to be a bit closer? I don't know whether it sounds good. Cryptopia is an important one to cover. So Cryptopia has had a problem with its wallet, and once again we're a victim of Electroneum's runaway success. So just to put it into I don't know, to conceptualize the size and scale of this thing. Monero last year did about 1.4 million transactions across their whole network, every single wallet in the whole globe of Monero, 1.4 million transactions in a year. This one wallet at Cryptopia has done millions of transactions. So it's mind-bogglingly busy, this wallet. Nobody in the history of cryptocurrency has ever had a wallet that has had this many transactions in it, and I'm pretty confident that is the case. Certainly in our blockchain, that is most certainly the case. And when I say our blockchain, I mean the algorithm that is our blockchain, including Monero. So what happened is we had a problem with our software that we fixed on that. We had a problem on a Friday night. We fixed it. They took their server down. When they brought the server back up again, the wallet didn't open correctly. Now it's important to say that this was not caused by the node. So what I mean by that is, if they'd have fallen over the lead and the plug had come out the back of the server, not that that had happened in Cryptopia, by the way, these guys are super pro, I'm loving the guys at Cryptopia, they're amazing. But if they'd have switched the power off to the server and switched it back on again, the same problem would have happened. So this is not a problem at Cryptopia's end, this is not Cryptopia's fault. I don't think it's fair to say it's our fault either, because we're using the Monero code. This exact thing would happen with Monero if they had enough transactions. So this has just never happened. And what happens with technology is all the time things are working, everybody's happy, then something breaks and then everybody has to look at it, find out why it's broken, and then they need to fix it. And that's just what we're in the middle of at the moment. So it's not a super easy fix, which is a shame, but it's fixable. So the Cryptopia guys are all over this. We've got our C++ guy sitting over there working on it as we speak. and effectively we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll fix it. We'll get a repair out, and that wallet will be back opened, and everybody will be happy again. So it's just time. It's important to say no money is lost. So no one's lost anything at Cryptopia. That money is still safely on the blockchain. It just needs the wallet to be able to cope with that massive scale. When it reopens, it'll be fine.
Okay, so what about the rest of exchanges? If you could just go over through the process.
Okay, so obviously we've had brilliant news with going live on KuCoin. I mean, I made a bit of a mistake possibly by announcing earlier in the year that we had acknowledgement from KuCoin, acknowledgement from HitBTC. Now, since then, we have paid other exchanges and we've had acknowledgement from other exchanges, but we're not going to say who they are because we've had an awful lot of grief on social media, basically pounding those exchanges and pounding us, saying, when's it going to go? When's it going to go? When's it going to go? So the reality of it is, we're working hard to get onto exchanges. We want to be, we want access to a global market with the maximum number of people that we can have. So as such, exchanges are important to us, and we are working on them, and we've paid a number of others their listing fees. So, but we have no control over it. So I can't get on the phone and say, I've paid you a listing fee, therefore you must do this, because the exchanges are all more powerful than we are. Now that might not be true when we've got 10 or 100 million users, but right now they're more powerful than we are. And so what we have to do is we have to be courteous and we have to be polite, and we nudge them every week and say, is there anything we can do? Is there anything our tech team can do? And if there is nothing that we can do, it's just a waiting game. And we're still waiting for HitBTC, but we are assured every week that we are in the queue and we will be processed. So HitBTC is inevitable. It will go live. It's just a case of waiting, and HitBTC will get on with it when they can. KuCoin have gone live, of course, which is great. We've got other smaller exchanges coming online all the time now. I think another one has just gone live today, in fact, hasn't it? Is that BitBN something? Anyone got the name of that one? It's an Indian exchange. Loving the look of the guys. Very nice guys who are running it. It's a smaller exchange, but they've got hundreds of thousands of users in India. So we'll get that out on our social media later as well.
So how does it work? Because we get lots of questions. People saying, well, we've got another project down there. They've gone on exchange. The moment they launch, 2 days later, they're on exchange. Is there any difference?
Yeah. Okay. So. I've seen that a few times actually. So sometimes people are saying, well, you guys aren't working hard enough to get on exchanges, because we've seen ICOs that have gone out of ICO stage into a number of exchanges just like that. And that's really important to look at what the difference is with what we are as opposed to what they probably are. I mean, I don't know them all by name, but certainly the examples that I've been given were all something called an ERC20 token. So there's a big difference between a coin and a token. It's a bit... it's basically the difference between running your own blockchain and having your own infrastructure, which is what we've got. So we are running a coin, a cryptocurrency that is our own, and an ERC20 token, which runs off the Ethereum blockchain and runs on smart contracts. Now, anybody who lists any other ERC20 token can list another ERC20 token really easily. So because of that, if they've got a whole load of reasonable ICOs coming on, it's so easy for them to list them, they might just as well. So that effectively explains why, from our point of view, there's a lot more testing involved with us. They've got to run a full node, which they don't have to for ERC20 tokens. So they are, that's the reason, is people jump ahead because they're running ERC20 tokens, not full coins.
Now, coming back to your ecosystem, there were lots of people asking about, what about the gaming part? Because we've looked at your white paper, there's lots of talk.
Yeah, that's important, I guess. Yes, it is. Okay, so our route to market originally, sorry, I'll come back to you, our cameraman, diligent cameraman. Our route to market originally was going to be through the gaming market. So we had leveraged that because I'd got contacts in the gaming world, and that is how I saw the easiest way for us to get to large user numbers. Now, as it happens, we found a better route to market than the gaming world. So with gaming, we would have to approach the games, we would have to try and integrate with ETN within each of those, sorry, I don't know whether or not you'd like to go and Imogen's waving at you.
We're fine.
Okay. Yeah. So, the games effectively would have to negotiate with each of the game companies, would have to integrate ETN, and then we'd get access to the user base. It was going to be a much harder process, a much slower process. What we've done is we've circumvented them. It doesn't mean that we don't want to do anything with gaming, because we do. but we've circumvented at the moment, and we've gone to the top of the tree, which is the mobile operators. So we're finding that it's relatively easy for us to open those doors to the mobile operators, and those mobile operators will give us access to the users of phones, and of course the users of phones are gamers. So we're still going to have access to those gamers, and if we develop that part of the ecosystem, which again will be part of this whole ecosystem of payments, accepting payments, making payments, if we develop that part, we'll already have access to those people because we've got access to phone users. And ultimately, what we wanted was millions of users, and we've got a really clear route to that now. Hundreds of million, well, certainly more than 130, probably up to about 150 million users now.
Okay, so we have one question that keeps popping up. If you were to look back, all the path that you've gone, you know, is there something you've done differently? You know, lessons learned. Is there anything that you could think about? You know, how did it go so far? And have you got any lessons learned? What would you do differently?
Well, what would we do differently if we did it again?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. If we, okay, that's a tough question. Well, I think part of it was that we didn't realise how big a success this was going to be, and we were surprised by it. And it's really, when you look at it, perhaps it isn't as surprising as it's, you know, of course, a mobile cryptocurrency that's super easy to use. Everybody loves cryptocurrency at the moment. It's so vogue in the press. Everybody is into cryptocurrency. Everyone talks about cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is such a topic of discussion. Of course, we should have seen that if you give easy access to it, it's going to go crazy, and we're going to get those. I mean, we were up to, somebody have a look at our site. What's the user number right now? We must be just a whisker under 1 million registered users for Electroneum. Now, we've had about 400,000, 500,000 app downloads so far. We've got about 60,000 people using the mobile miner. A lot of you have to remember with the mobile miner, by the way, that not everybody's going to use it, right? Some people want to transfer ETN using their phone, but they're not bothered about running for $3 a month. So we're not marketing to that part of the ecosystem yet. So don't worry about that number of only being 60,000 odd mobile miners. We've had at least 400,000 app downloads, and we've got nigh on 1 million registered users. So, oh, there you go. Is that 990, 188? You can see this very posh, pre-made piece of paper.
Okay. Do you plan to develop a user-friendly desktop GUI wallet?
Okay. In a nutshell, no. The question was, are we planning to develop a GUI desktop wallet? There probably already is one or two out there written by communities. It wouldn't be too hard for us to take a Monero GUI wallet and change it over to be an Electroneum one, but it's not high on my priority list. I'm all about mobile, and more mobile, and that is our audience. We're looking at the young, we're looking at the developing world, and those people half the time don't even have a desktop computer. So whilst I appreciate there's a demand for it, it's not something that's high on my priority list, I'm afraid. So perhaps at some stage, but we've got so much on at the moment. I'm just focusing on mobile ecosystem.
Okay. Do the team have any future plans to address transaction time by looking at technologies such as Lightning Network?
Okay. Okay, so this is a really, really good bit. Okay, so that question was about Lightning Network, which is more of a Bitcoin development than or the Monero blockchain. But the Lightning Network, I don't know how much of you know what the Lightning Network is, but it's an off-blockchain technology that enables fast transaction processing. I don't understand it fully myself, but the concept is that by keeping the transaction off the blockchain and having two trusted parties that can talk to each other, you can have the ability to confirm a transaction almost instantaneously. A lot of talk about it. No, as far as I know, nobody's implemented this anywhere, except possibly in a test environment, but I think it's more of a theoretical technology at the moment. But we've got something that's as Lightning, or more Lightning than the Lightning Network, and works in a very similar way. So what you're seeing, of course, is that we have got a centralized place where people log into their wallets. So we've got this app, and we've got our website that you can log into and access your wallet. And the reason we've had to do that is because cryptocurrencies, as a rule, are very technical things. If you sit there, all of our guys will open a command line wallet on Windows or a command line wallet on a Linux machine and think nothing of it. An awful lot of technical people out there watching this would say, that's easy. But it isn't easy for your average person. Your average person just looking at a command prompt would probably have a bit of a freak out. Certainly running a command line wallet is beyond most people. So what we wanted to do is make it super easy which is what we've done. And by making it super easy, and I promise I'll get to the point in a minute, by making it super easy, we put it all into this centralized system. So this centralized system talks to our decentralized blockchain. So that's still decentralized, same as Bitcoin. It's all over the world, it's decentralized. But we've got our centralized system where all the mobile phones connect into that. And those mobile phones can send a transaction, and one of our servers picks that up, pops it into a queue. Those queues get processed. You know, at the beginning of the ICO, we had all sorts of problems with the amount of time it was taking. All those things have been overcome. So it goes into a queue, chops down through, drops into a Linux box, right? So a server that's running Linux, and it opens up and does all sorts of clever things with security, and then it processes your transaction for you. So all that clever technology has taken place with you just having a very simple interface. Now the important part is coming. So if you are a shop, you are a vendor, you want to accept Electroneum, you're a mobile phone network operator, or you are a shoe shop, or you are anybody, doesn't matter. So let's say you're Netflix, doesn't matter who you are, you're somebody that wants to accept Electroneum. Now, what do you really want? You really want the fastest, smoothest, quickest checkout experience. Well, if you imagine this, if the vendor has an account with us, and you guys, the users, have an account with us, and the blockchain sits out here in the ether, then when you want to send some money over to let's say it's the shoe shop, you want to really check out immediately. So you send the money to the shoe shop. Now, with all traditional blockchain models, decentralized model, what happens is you have to wait for confirmation time. It sits in the mempool for a little while, then it gets picked up out of what's called the mempool, it gets dropped into one of the miners, picks it up, processes it, adds it to a block. Now, all that takes time. The absolute minimum it's going to take is a few minutes. Might take 20 minutes, might take 40 minutes. I've had Bitcoin transactions that have sat there for weeks, quite literally weeks sitting there because the mining fee wasn't enough. So what we've done is we're putting it together. The software's not quite finished, but the concept is in place. This is what it's going to do. The vendor is sitting in our system. You guys, the users, are sitting in our system. So you go to buy something from the vendor. Instantly, we can say, yep, that's happened. The vendor is now happy to release the goods or release the service, or say your payment has been received. So you immediately get to walk away. Your checkout is complete. But the blockchain hasn't got a record of the transaction yet, but that doesn't matter because it's queued in our system. Now, if you go to spend the same amount of money again, our system knows you've already spent that money. So our system will do the blockchain's job of saying no double spend. But in the meantime, you're sitting in that processing queue, you'll drop down, whap, it will happen, your transaction will be added to the blockchain. So you've still got this decentralization. We're not bringing full centralization. We're just bringing a centralized service to a decentralized model. So effectively, we're a hybrid, and that hybridization enables us to deliver something that no one else does, which is instantaneous cryptocurrency transactions. So that we effectively are making a Lightning version, because Lightning is off blockchain as well, but we're not doing it with Lightning. So the people that are asking, we're doing our own version. But yes, instant payment is very important to us.
Rich, I think ASICs, it's keep coming back. People kind of dropping off audio-wise. If you could just go back and read
ASICs. So lots of people have been talking about ASICs. Few things to say about ASICs. Number one, ASICs are expensive. So in comparing them, people are saying ASICs is the end of Electroneum. It's just nonsense. Don't worry about any of that. Not true at all. I've seen someone say ASICs mean it's going to drop the price of the coin to zero. Well, bear in mind that the biggest ASIC production and the biggest ASIC mining in the world goes on Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin's value is not zero, so you can't equate ASIC mining and the price of the coin. They don't really go together. So the ASICs are mining on our full decentralized blockchain. So they're nothing to do with mobile mining, which is a completely separate thing. Our mobile mining experience drops out coins to people to get them into cryptocurrency, get them into using Electroneum. It's really important to differentiate these things. So ASICs have nothing to do with that. They won't affect the amount of payout. They won't affect anything to do with it. But they will, if they've got these ASICs released, they will affect the amount of people that can mine Electroneum in terms of the blockchain. Running a full node and running a miner, you are going to struggle to cope. If you're running a GPU rig, you're going to struggle to cope against ASIC miners. So it may well be that we develop some strategy. I mean, basically, we're following Monero. Monero have already done some great stuff. They've developed this dynamic blockchain that we're going to use because it works really, really well for what we're trying to do, mass adoption. And there's some bright guys on that team, right? We've got a few bright guys here. We've got even more bright guys starting. So chances are we'll do something to try and aid an anti-ASIC, I suppose. And I know that Monero are looking at this, and we're following along behind Monero. So things that Monero are doing, we're going to be adopting into our blockchain where appropriate. So if that happens, we'll definitely follow it. But I don't think. But people should not worry about it. I know there's a lot of fear and uncertainty around it. It's nothing to have fear or uncertainty about. It does not affect our plan in any way. Nothing. It genuinely doesn't. It's nothing to worry about.
Okay, so we've got quite a few questions about iOS. We've gone with mine and so on. Where are we?
Okay, so I have an iPhone. Damn me, traitor. So let me have a look in here. I will, if I stop got it, I've opened it. I've got about 1 billion text messages coming in. I will show you in 2 seconds. Here we go. So I'm on an iPhone. Oh, here we go. Mining stop. Dismiss. So here I am. So now I click on a wallet. So here's a wallet on an iPhone. Let me click on the miner. Here you go. I'll click start mining. Mining stopped. Oh no, I've been blocked by my own miner. Our algorithm is constantly evolving. So yeah, we've had a question about this too, haven't we? About why that's happening. So when people get blocked from mining, our algorithm is learning all sorts of stuff about the world and about the infrastructure that people have and about the IP addresses. It's learning how many people there are on IP addresses, and on average, it's trying to learn about masts, mobile phone masts, how many people that are mining on 3G or 4G networks, how many people are there per mast. There's all sorts of stuff that we're having to cope with. And so when you're doing this, you're actually helping us develop our network. So it's asking me a question. Mine does say current location, place of education. It needs to have a code roll out there. I've seen that fixed in somewhere else. So we choose where we are. I'm going to say place of work, done. I'm not a robot. And when I click submit, it's having a little thing. I click submit on my iPhone. Okay, thanks for submitting your details. And now if I go back to the miner and click start mining, that's it, I'm back mining. So this is the iPhone works perfectly well. The iOS version is designed, it's working, it works exactly like the Android one. We're struggling a little bit with Apple, but we've got some really great use cases. There are 1 or 2 other coins that have managed to get through Apple, and that's brilliant for us. There's 1 or 2 other cryptocurrency wallets that have come out that are brilliant for us, because we're leveraging those, because Apple have effectively said, well, we're not really keen on cryptocurrencies. Well, we've now got some really good examples of cryptocurrencies that have been listed, so we're up against them now. But all we can do, this is a bit like the exchanges. We can't twist Apple's arm. You know, we aren't more powerful than Apple. I can't threaten Apple with lawyers. I can't do anything to Apple. All I can do to Apple is ring my cat and beg, and that's effectively what we do in a weekly basis. So we will get us listed in Apple, I assure you. We work on it every single week. There is someone working on getting that iOS app live. It's important to me personally. It's important for the project, but yeah, we'll get it there. But you just need to keep coercing them, and we will get there eventually. When I say it's important for the project, by the way, I think it is important to note that in the developing world, where we're going to be bringing on tens of millions of users, they're all Android users. So it's only the Western world that uses iPhones. And so that is really, really important. That this, again, even if we were to be unable to get listed on iOS, and I'm really confident we will get listed, but even if we were unable to, doesn't slow down the project. The project works completely well just on Android. We'll still get tens of millions of users. I absolutely know we will.
Now, staying on a miner, will the release rate of the mobile miner reduce as more people mine? Okay,
yeah, that's a good question. Well, we're not releasing the algorithm, which is slightly different to how everybody else works in terms of completely open source projects. But this is again, we're in that hybrid world of we've got a centralized system and a decentralized system, and in all of we've got loads of algorithmic studies of what our mobile miner is going to do, and we've got mobile miner has been planned up to 100 million users, and up to 100 million users, 10 years at least. In fact, I think the last one we ran was 14 years. 100 million users, 14 years, a few dollars a month. So the answer is, it doesn't work the same way. It hasn't got a decay rate, and the more people that use it, it doesn't work quite the same way as that. So we have more control over it, and we have more daily control and hourly control than an open source, completely decentralized system. That algorithm has to go out there and stay out there and not be changed ever. Whereas ours, we can literally say, do you know what? We found that this phone is doing this, or we found that, like we have done, there's a lot of people that seem to be unfairly being penalised because their equipment's too old. Well, that seems unfair to us. We want to try and encourage these people. Let's bring that up. So we're tweaking our algorithm all the time to get the best possible result for Electroneum. So remember that the best possible result for a distributed mining model is that the blocks get fulfilled, that the miners are out there doing a job, and that's to make sure the blocks are filled with transactions. Whereas remember that the reason the mobile miner exists is to push the name Electroneum out there, is to get tens, hundreds of millions of people onto the system. So people that have never experienced cryptocurrency experience cryptocurrency, have a bit of cryptocurrency. You can't convince somebody that hasn't got access to an exchange and doesn't really believe in cryptocurrency to take that plunge. But if they've got something for free that they can get some cryptocurrency, they've taken the plunge by default. It's now fairly easy to convince them to spend it on something, and when they find out that they've got the convenience of a digital payment method, all of a sudden we're going to open up these doors to these people. I think it's really important that if we look at the other projects that have happened in the developing world, so go and have a look at a project called M-Pesa. Brilliant project. It's in Kenya. Everyone laughed at it to start with. Everybody was skeptical about it, and everybody basically said it was going to fail. And more money goes through M-Pesa in Kenya than every single Kenyan bank put together. So it's a massive success, and that's in Kenya. We're global, so you know I'm super confident in the future.
Okay, is bounty program on HackerOne an ongoing project or more of an exercise?
Okay, no, ongoing. So the question was, is the bounty program on HackerOne an ongoing program, or is it just a one-off exercise? It's ongoing. We'll keep that running forever. I mean, security flaws, you'd like to think they're all closed off, you know, but wouldn't it be nice to think that Microsoft doesn't have any more security flaws, but they seem to do a security update every few days. Security flaws are always found in things, and so we'd be crazy to switch it off. Is the answer no? HackerOne security bounty program will run indefinitely, and that means that we've got the best of the best looking at our product for security flaws before they go into the wild, as it were.
If you remember, there was keep staying on a HackerOne and a hacked areas. 500, half a million computers infected in 12 hours. There was an article going on.
Okay, yeah, that's a great. I love that question actually, because that gives. Right, okay, so. That was a point. It was a few days ago, perhaps. Yes. There was a virus that went round that was infecting computers with a mining algorithm. It was a backdoor Trojan. I don't know exactly what you'd call it, but effectively everybody that got infected. There was about 500,000 people that were infected with this virus. So it was it was annoying for them, and it was yeah, possibly bad publicity for us, but I'm not so sure it was, and let me explain why. So 500,000 people got their computers infected with something that mines Electroneum. Now, they were mining it for them, they weren't mining it for us, they weren't mining it for anybody else, they were mining it for themselves. And the reason that they'd written that virus was to make themselves some money. Now, let's have a think about that. So, of all the cryptocurrencies in the world, they could write a virus to infect computers to mine Ethereum. They could make it to mine Monero, they could make it to mine Bitcoin, but they didn't choose any of those. They chose Electroneum. Now these are really bright, really technical people, and they looked around at the market and said, what is the best cryptocurrency in the world for us to mine? And it was Electroneum. I think that's awesome. So it's terrible that they infected computers. Don't do it anymore. I don't like you for doing that. However, thanks for choosing Electroneum. It's a compliment. So yeah, I feel sorry for anyone who had their computer infected, but it's amazing news for Electroneum. That's the power that Electroneum has, I think.
I think we have one more question we've got time for.
Sure.
And I think just to sum it up, because it's how has the recruitment gone? If you just reiterate, what were your priorities? What kind of team you want to? What's the plan for the next year, basically?
Okay, so yeah, we still continue to grow the team. We've got a few more people coming on support. We've got a few more. We've got tech people that we employed. Well, I don't know if you call it employed. There's tech people that gave their notice in December and January, and we still haven't got them in the team yet. So people's notice periods are so fantastically long, and it drives you a bit crazy. But these are great people. So we've got a number of people that are joining us. We've got some more C++, more PHP Symfony, more. We've got a great guy coming on who's an infrastructure AWS guy. You know who you are. And so he doesn't come on till I think April the 27th or something. But yeah, it was right back in January that he said, yes, I'd love to join you. So, you know, I think that all of these things are a bit frustrating in terms of the time it takes to build a great team. But it's really important to remember how young we are as a business. Less than 12 months old as a business, and yet massive successes in the crypto world. And well, just in general as a business, it's a fantastic business to be in. It's so exciting to be in it. I think everybody really loves being involved with it. Everybody that we talk to is excited to be talking to us, and it's been a privilege to be part of it.
Well, that's it. That's all we have time for.
That's all, folks. Yeah, apparently that's all we have time for. If you've got any other questions, I would love to do another one. I don't know if we can, but perhaps we can get this recorded and put onto a blog for those who couldn't make it and wanted to see me wave my hands. And we will do another one. I'm happy to do them as often as we can. So thanks very much, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. Bye-bye.